Let's get some prize picks in today, guys. It's been very green the past few days. You can see this 5-1 here as well as this 5-1 here, but I've not been able to convert into a 6 for 6 just yet. Just these past 3 days. Obviously Monday and Wednesday, if you watch those videos, absolutely popped off there. This was the pick from last night's video, 3 and 3. And honestly, this Wagner and Banchero stack was looking so good, but they didn't play the whole fourth quarter. It was an insane blowout. I believe it was 40 points. They were up 40 points by the fourth quarter, so I believe they rested the whole time. At least I haven't seen these stats move ever since the fourth quarter, so I'm going to assume they sat out the whole time, and it makes sense because they were up 40 points, but this was looking pretty decent. Unfortunately, I didn't get enough minutes, and I was expecting a blowout. I just didn't expect it to be that bad to the point where they actually sat out the whole fourth quarter. Now, on the Giannis and Beasley stack, honestly, Beasley was just not hot. He had like 3 points pretty much the whole game, ended up with 10, but did not do enough work to get over that 13.5 points. And then the soccer picks both cash. So 3 and 3 there. Nothing crazy, but we'll get onto the board for today. I have a full NBA play, and we're going to start off with 4 picks from this game right here, Cleveland versus Denver. I'm targeting sort of a close matchup here. We have a -4.5 spreads towards the Denver Nuggets. It's a bit of a slow-paced game, which is a bit problematic when I'm grabbing all overs. So typically you want kind of a faster-paced game when you're grabbing overs, but because it's a tight matchup, I think it sort of compensates. And we're going to start it off with the Cleveland players that I'm going with, and that's going to be Jared Allen on his over 14.5 points. Donovan Mitchell, Strus, everyone is back in the starting lineup. Mobley, I believe Karis LeVert's got moved to the bench. So this is Jared Allen. I'm going with him on his over 14.5 points. And I'm also going with Garland on his over 6 assists. As you guys know, I love the stack between centers and point guards, or just anyone in general that's assisting a lot of points. Of course, Jared Allen is one of those players that really heavily relies on assists. 81.5% of his field goals made are going to be assisted. Essentially, if he's getting a lot of points, the people around him are going to be getting more assists. In this case, Garland is that main assister in the starting lineup, so we're going with him on his 6 assists, but also because there's value on both of these plays. If we go to Jared Allen on the points prop, so Jared Allen -120 towards his over, essentially his over is more likely than his under on that 14.5 spot, so we're going with that there. And then on Garland, he's set at 6.5 on the sportsbooks. We're getting him at 6, so we get that push potential at 6. And then if he ends up going over, we end up cashing either way. So very, very safe pick on Garland at 6 assists. Now they're up against Denver, but I don't think it's the biggest problem for Jared Allen to get these points. Denver is like one of those top 10 easiest matchups in terms of points allowed, so I'm not too worried about Jokic. And if we actually check the lineups, Jokic is a game time decision. I think he'll play, and Jamal Murray is also a game time decision. I'm not sure exactly if he's going to play, but it doesn't really matter because these next 2 picks don't involve Jokic or Murray. It's going to be actually Aaron Gordon on his over 3.5 assists. And I'm going to be stacking this up with Michael Porter Jr. Now, honestly, I was thinking of even stacking in KCP on this lineup, but I looked into things a little bit further, defensive matchups, and I think Michael Porter Jr. is the play here on the over 15.5 points with Gordon's over 3.5 assists. Now, if Jokic or Murray are out, this is going to help these lines tremendously. You're probably going to see bumps across the board, probably Aaron Gordon to 4 assists, as well as Michael Porter Jr. probably to 16.5 points, because obviously they're going to get way more usage with Jamal Murray out, or even if Jokic is out. Imagine both these guys are out. I mean, this should be an easy cash. Now, I said that last time I took a triple stack on these 3 guys. Jamal Murray ended up being ruled out, and the lines did get bumped, but it did not cash. I'm definitely hoping for Jamal Murray to be out again for a similar chance so we get a bit of redemption on that play that did not cash last time. So let's take a look at the actual value on both these guys. If we check Aaron Gordon assists, you're going to see he has slight juice towards that over. Nothing crazy, -120. But it's really that stacking potential that makes it better. And if we go to Michael Porter Jr., he also has juice towards that over at -120. And even KCP has pretty good juice on his over 8.5 at -125. But again, the reason I'm not triple stacking is because of these matchups. If we go and check the Cleveland defense, I mean, they're quite strong. They're like top 7 here. The top 7 toughest matchup in terms of points allowed. But if we actually check versus each position, you could see point guards are still up there. Pretty tough matchup. Shooting guards, they're the number 1 toughest matchup. And of course, that's where KCP plays. So I'm kind of hesitant to throw him in the entry. If we check the power forward position, they're still up there. And if we check the centers, they're also still up there. But when we go to small forward, where Michael Porter Jr. plays, of course, we're going to sort by points. And they're actually one of the worst teams, or one of the easiest matchups for that specific position. So that's why I'm targeting MPJ specifically, and I'm kind of avoiding playing KCP because Michael Porter has that easier matchup compared to KCP. And the reason I'm going with Gordon assists instead of Jokic, for example, because if we check Jokic's assists, his line is set at 8. That's way too high. At 7.5, I would be going with Jokic instead. But on the sportsbooks, we see that Jokic is set at 7.5 assists. Yes, with juice towards the over, but once you get to 8, once you're like going over the sportsbooks lines, you're losing a lot of value basically. So I would rather go with Gordon, kind of has a fair line, with juice towards that over 3.5 assists. And as usual, we're taking an assist prop because MPJ is heavily assisted. You see 84.4% of his field goal made are going to be assisted. That 96.5% on those 3-point field goals are assisted, and about half his points are 3-pointers. So the more points he's getting, the more the people around him are going to be assisting. In this case, we're going with Gordon instead of Jokic, but it's a similar concept. Now, of course, these guys are all from this same game, so we really need a close game with more points than expected. If the actual total ends up more than 215, maybe up to 225, 230, that would be very nice for us, as well as a nice tight game where everyone is getting the most amount of minutes. That is going to be a quad stack on this Denver versus Cleveland game. Now, to end it off, I like these 2 picks on their own, but I'm going to be stacking them together either way because it still has that correlation. We're going with LeBron James on the under 24.5 points. I think this line is too high. We do see 2 game time decisions in this lineup. Let's be real, guys. LeBron and AD are both going to be playing tonight. They still need wins here, and I think they need this win versus the Brooklyn Nets. Both AD and LeBron have been questionable like pretty much all season, yet they still play. And you see here, he played 35 minutes apiece in 2 games since he last sat out. And they have an upcoming back-to-back versus Toronto and Washington. So obviously much easier matchups where LeBron and AD will have an opportunity to rest. So I don't think they're going to be resting this game. And the reason I say all this is because obviously if AD is out, this is a terrible line to take at the under 24.5 points. But I'm expecting both LeBron and AD to play, meaning this 24.5 points is still a good line for us. And you'll see that it's too high because if we go on any sportsbook and type in LeBron James points, he is set at 23.5. Of course, we're getting about 24.5. And you see this player point milestones. His 25 plus points, which is basically the over 24.5, is plus money, meaning it's less likely to happen than his under 24.5 points. So we want to be all over this play no matter what. And then while we're grabbing it, we might as well pair it up with D'Angelo Russell on his under 5.5 assists. Another line that it's not set too high. It's good at 5.5, but there is juice towards his under. So if you go on Russell's assists, you see the juice is towards his under at minus 130, while his over is at plus 100. So it's the same thing for LeBron James. His over 24.5 points at plus 100. His under is at minus 130. Great pick. Now, of course, LeBron could create shots on his own. He only has about 50% of his field goals made assisted, which is not as strong as Michael Porter or Jared Allen, but I still think there's good value on both these lines. So this is going to be the full 6-man slip.